At that time in Varanasi, there was a splendid youth named Yasa, the son of a wealthy merchant. He was the only son of that merchant and consequently was afforded all sorts of luxuries. In the cold season, he was given a winter palace, in the hot season, a summer palace, in the rainy season, a mansion for rain. One night, after he had indulged himself in the pleasures of lust, he fell into slumber for a short while. After a while, when he awoke, under the light of a beautiful solitary lamp, women who had tired of music were in deep slumber, oblivious to any sense of decorum. There were some women who had rolled on their sides atop the lutes, some dancers had drums resting on their necks. There were women with disheveled hair, some dribbled saliva down their chins while mumbling in their sleep. Yasa, who had observed at close hand a scene that resembled a charnel ground, perceived the evils of lust and aroused a mind that was repelled by lust, crying out,
"It is fearful, it is fearful."
He put on his gold slippers and ran out. He proceeded directly to the deer park and its dawn hurried toward the world-honored one who was on the road. The words,
"It is fearful, it is fearful,"
came from Yasa's mouth. The world-honored one said,
"Yasa, there is nothing fearful about this place. Sit here and listen to my teaching."
These words pacified Yasa's deranged mind. Yasa took off his gold slippers and sat at the side of the world-honored one. The world-honored one then spoke in orderly fashion on the following: selfless giving, the precepts, birth into the heavens, the defilement and evil of sensual lust, the benefits of freeing oneself from the world of desire, and so forth. After bringing peace to Yasa's mind, he expounded the Four Noble Truths of suffering, its origin, its cessation, and the path leading to its cessation. Just as a pure robe is easily stained by color, Yasa's mind was stained by the color of the teaching, and he gave birth to the eye of the Dharma that perceives that all things that come into existence perish without fail. The news that Yasa was missing from the palace shocked the members of the clan. Messengers sped off in the 8 directions in search of Yasa. The father also personally set off in search of his son. By chance he found himself in the vicinity of the deer park, and spying the gold slippers that had been left discarded, he asked the world-honored one about the whereabouts of his son. The world-honored one said,
"In due time you will be able to meet your son. Therefore it will do you good to sit here for a short while."
He then expounded the teaching and caused the father to attain the eye of the Dharma that was free of all defilements. The wealthy father rejoiced and repeated the 3 refuges. He said,
"World-honored one, this is a superb event, like lifting someone up who has fallen, like revealing that which was concealed, like showing the path to someone who is lost, like holding up a light in the darkness and encouraging those with eyes to look at the forms of things. In various ways the world-honored one manifests the teaching for our sake. World-honored one, I take refuge in the world-honored one. Please accept me as a believer who takes refuge from this day forward to the end of my life."
In this way, the seeker and the sought both entered the path, for Yasa left home and became a sage. The next day the world-honored one, accompanied by Yasa, was invited to his home. He made believers of Yasa's mother and young wife. Following Yasa's example, his 4 friends, Vimala, Sabahu, Panaji, and Gravampati, left home. A party of 50 friends, encouraged by Yasa, also became disciples of the Buddha. These men followed the teaching of the world-honored one, practiced according to the Dharma, and attained enlightenment. At this juncture, there were 61 sages in the world who had become disciples of the Buddha. At that time, the world-honored one addressed his disciples.
"Disciples, I have freed myself from all shackles. You have also freed yourselves from all shackles. Disciples, have compassion for the world, for its welfare and happiness. Roam throughout this world. 2 men, however, should not travel the same route. Disseminate the teaching that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end. The teaching that is endowed with both letter and meaning. Explain the practice that is utterly pure and perfect. In the world there are people whose eyes of wisdom are only slightly stained. If they do not listen to the teaching, however, they will be ruined. If they listen to the teaching, they will attain enlightenment. Disciples, in order to expound the teaching, I shall go to Senanigama and Uruvala."
Then Mara suddenly appeared before the world-honored one and said,
"You are bound by every shackle and are tied up with thick bonds. You cannot escape me."
The world-honored one responded to Mara,
"I am free of all shackles. You have been vanquished now."
Mara spoke again.
"The shackle called the concentration of infinite space is nothing else but greed. I have shackled you with this fetter. Mendicant, you cannot escape me.
The world-honored once again replied.
I am free of greed for the 5 desires. You have been vanquished now.
Mara said.
The world-honored one knows me.
And dolefully faded away. The world-honored one dispatched 60 of his disciples in all directions and entered Kapasaya Grove in Uruvala alone. At that time, 30 young men who called themselves the pleasure group were enjoying an outing in the grove of the group. 29 of the men had wives. For the lone bachelor, they hired a harlot to serve as his wife. The 60 men and women were thoroughly enjoying themselves at this party held in a grove. The harlot waited for her chance and ran away with their beautiful garments and jewels. The members of the party were stunned and ran in search of her, turning this way and that. By accident, they drew near the world-honored one, who was sitting serenely under a tree. They noticed his radiant appearance and, struck with wonder, asked the world-honored one about the harlot's whereabouts. The world-honored one said,
Young men, why do you search for a woman? Which is superior, searching for a woman or searching for oneself?
The young men said,
World-honored one, to search for oneself is superior.
Young men, then you would do well to sit here. I shall expound that teaching of searching for oneself.
Submitting to his words, they sat down by the side of the world-honored one. The world-honored one, step by step, elucidated the teaching. He waited for their minds to settle down, then he expounded the poor noble truth. The young men all opened their eye of wisdom and became mendicants and disciples of the world-honored one.